A couple of weeks ago, we looked at one of Paul's prayers for the saints, and today we're going to do the same thing in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 14 and following through 19. I want you to look at this prayer, and again, like last time, I want you to compare this prayer to your prayers and begin to ask the question, am I praying as a biblical believer, or am I just praying for the need of the moment? Look at this prayer that he prays in Ephesians 3:14. He said, "For this reason I bow my knees before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth is named, that according to the riches of glory he may grant you to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in your inner being." I mean, do you not think that this is probably a prayer that not only do we need to pray for ourselves, but for others, that we would be strengthened with power by his Spirit in our inner being, because we every day are going to be inundated with opportunities to sin, and we're going to be faced with intense temptation, and we need to beg God that his mercies, which are new every morning, would strengthen us to stand for him. And he goes on and he says, "So that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth, height, and depth, and to know the love of Christ." The next thing he prays for is that we would begin to grasp the deep love of Christ, that we would never walk around asking the question, does God love me? That we would know that God's love for us is rooted and grounded in his finished work on our behalf, that even when our circumstances don't necessarily go our way, that's not a sign that God loves us less. That's a sign that God, by his grace and mercy, is going to sanctify us deeply through circumstances which are beyond our control. And then he goes on and he says that we would know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that we would be filled with the fullness of God. As you look at this passage, he's praying for inner spiritual strength. He's praying for deeper knowledge and comprehension of the love of God. And he's praying that we'd be filled with all the fullness of God. I hope that you would begin to look at a prayer like this and recognize that this is so necessary, that our prayer lives need to become biblical, that we need to pray in a way that activates the very Spirit of God, not only on our behalf, but on those around us. It would be worth your while to memorize Ephesians 3:14 through 19, and to begin to pray that, not only for yourself, but for those that God has placed in your path.